All righty, welcome everybody to our session today. It is Wednesday, February 21st. Man, we are almost 2 months into the year already. So we're flying along. And what I wanted to do is spend some time today going through the spreadsheet a bit. I'm going to touch base on a few things, but I also want to open it up to Sergey, who's also going to go through some things with you today on his end, and then we'll even in about 2 weeks from now we'll have another special guest, the famous Squeak that all of you guys know of in Discord. Squeak will be here in a couple of weeks, and we'll really dive into some formulas and get a little bit more advanced on the spreadsheet. So didn't want to overwhelm you guys with things today. So Sergey's got some great things, especially if you're an IBKR or a TOS user. We're not going to focus on the TT end of things, but how to integrate some of the data feeds into the spreadsheet. We'll touch base on that today. I want to go through the spreadsheet a little bit on how I'm setting it up and maybe some changes I've made, nothing major. And if you have questions on the spreadsheet, certainly ask. I will do my best on it. I put together 90% of it. The other 10% has been Squeak and a bunch of other guys here. I can't name everybody who's helped me with formulas, but I appreciate all the members here who come up with some cool formula things. I wish I was better at laying out spreadsheets and things like that, which I'm not fantastic at it, but I'm pretty good, especially being a former accountant. So I do get it, but there's a lot to it. So as we get, especially with the new understanding how to do pivot tables and how to do VLOOKUPs and how to do index work, that starts to get a little bit above my pay grade here on it. So I want to bring in smarter people than me. And that's always my goal in pretty much anything I do, is surround myself with people much smarter than me so that I can learn as much as I can from them. And hopefully that's your guys' goal in this Discord as well, is just put yourself around a lot of really smart people. I can't name them all, but there's a lot of really good traders and a lot of really smart people. We all like to think of ourselves, as knowing a lot of things maybe, but then you get around some people that just do something that's really cool, and you want to learn how they do it. The only thing I will caution you as members is don't chase the shiny objects, and don't get out of your plan too much. If your plan is not doing 0 DTE or day trading or doing ratio spreads or doing other things like that, don't do it. Selling naked puts, I mean, even though that's what we're all doing, essentially, don't do it. Just because somebody else is making money on it doesn't mean you should do it. It's why I don't like to post my 0 DTE stuff that often, even though I think I'm pretty good at it, is I really don't want you doing it. I know Joseph Puckett says it a bunch of times. He's scalping futures here and there. It's great. He's got good returns on it, at least right now. But as soon as you try to do it and you get smoked for 10 grand or 20 grand, and you realize, well, why did I do that? Well, one guy was having great success, but why, when I do it, all I do is lose 20 grand of my $100,000 account. And now you're down 20% on the year because you did something stupid, which was essentially just following somebody else's stuff without really thinking it through. So make sure you have a plan. We're going to start our course tonight with folks. I'm excited for that with the members. We'll be doing it again in a couple more weeks. We'll open that back up. But I'm excited just to make sure that you've got a plan, understand the strategies, understand the spreadsheet, understand how to journal, understand how to adjust, understand how to hedge. We're going to cover all of that in this 6-week course starting tonight. So that'll be something fun for everybody. There'll be a lot of stuff to cover. It's going to be drinking from a fire hose when you're in this course. So, or at least I hope it is. That's the way I like to teach, is give you way more stuff than you can actually handle at one given point in time. And then you can sit on it and sort through it. And then we'll help walk you through it. As we learn to walk, then we can jog, then we can run. then maybe we can sprint a bit. So looking at the spreadsheet, just taking you through a couple basic things on my end, and then Sergey, we're going to have him take over and show you what he's doing for at least a half an hour worth of time here as he goes through. So I'm excited here, and I love having members that feel like they have something to share that helps the collective. I think this is awesome. Very few groups like this give space and time to the members. And like I said, there's a lot of really smart people in this group. So I think it's really great to have people that want to do something. If you have something that you think is worthy of being shared, message us. So send me a DM, send me a message, what have you. You can talk to Candy as well, or Igor, any of us, Gabe, doesn't really matter. But if you have something you feel that could be shared with everybody, let us know. We'll give you some space here to share it. I'll pull you on a Zoom if we can. We'll do some different things with some different members, but I want to make sure that everybody here has a chance, if you have something valuable, to really share those things with everybody else, because I think it only makes the service better to have a community and not just one or two guys telling you, here's my trades, here's my alerts, go follow it. I think you've got to learn from other people, and everybody's got a different size account. I'm trying to give you a $10,000 account, an IRA around 200 grand, and a larger trading account, relatively speaking, of 420 or so grand. But if you want to do $1 million, $5 million accounts, we got those too. So if you want, we can help you with any sizes. The strategies don't change, okay, a whole lot, but the underlyings may change, and some of the things we'll tweak. But I just want to put that out at the beginning here as we get started with everybody, that I really want you to make sure that you feel comfortable sharing and doing whatever you feel is valuable to the rest of the team. All right, so that being said, let me run through here. I'm going to take myself off camera because you really don't need to see my picture. And it mucks up the screen. So as you know, on my spreadsheet, and we're going to start just using mine, and then we can go into more detailed things. You can make this whatever you want to make it, as big and as detailed as you want to get. Okay, the sky's the limit. Okay? For me, I don't want to spend that much time in my spreadsheet, so I don't do everything that you can. But if you want to put charts and graphs and break things down even more, fine. But what I find is when you have too many things to do and multiply, you don't keep up with it here. So simple is always a little bit better. But I want to give myself a way to also evaluate how things are going. And a lot of too is I get asked a lot of questions, and I want to be able to have answers on that as well. So I want to be able to try to answer questions that you may have. And Neil, yes, do I have any portfolio margin accounts? I do have portfolio margin accounts. I can't really give you anything, and I don't want to use this time today, but we can talk maybe in another couple weeks. Let's get into a session on opening an LLC and doing a brokerage account there. I think there's enough interest in that. We'll do it. I mean, I have multiple LLCs that I run for multiple businesses. I don't trade under them currently. No, I'm not opening a hedge fund and going through all of that nonsense either. It's a lot of work, a lot of pain, and I just don't want to be regulated, and I don't want to have to be bound by a lot of different rules and regulations. I know Igor and I have talked about it on and off, doing some different things, but there's just a lot of hassle that comes with all of that. But trading under an LLC, certainly a potential opportunity for many people here, and I'm not against it at all, but I want to make sure that you understand what you're doing before you just go and set it up for a small or medium-sized account or something. All right, so as we jump into the dashboard here, the top piece is just my dailies. This just gives me a sense of what am I doing each day. I'm inputting data. There's no surprises there. You can potentially automate some of these things from your brokerage. We'll have Serge go through those today. But for me, the biggest thing is this formula. I'm just trying to bring in any of my daily closed trades. So if as soon as I add my daily, super simple. As soon as I change this, Okay, it's now this same formula. It's just looking to see if anything in my closed trades tab, okay, is meeting my date filter here, essentially. Essentially, that's what we're doing. Okay. And you can see the A40 right here, which is this. So is anything here, okay, meeting the same date, closed date as my date for today? And it automatically just brings my things forward. I don't have to manually input my daily realized. When I get to weekly realized trades, all I do is I just draw this yellow, I color this yellow line for the last day of the week, and I just manually update the sum in here. So that's pretty basic. Everything else I think you guys can figure out from these formulas down here. This one here is important for me. I always have this line down here. You can see I'm using an index search. Again, index is the way to go. And when we get in with Squeak and a couple others, I think using index formulas is really the way to go. They're better than VLOOKUPs, but we won't get too deep into that today, or maybe we will. I don't know. But for me, I'm able to search through this entire row. Okay, to me, it's just grabbing the last updated piece that I put in here. So no matter what I change this to, if I, and actually today we're up, right? So we have another nice day going today. We're at 432,937 right now. I don't know if we'll spend the day, but it updates this last one. And then this all-time high here is this formula here takes the max of this entire row and it puts it here. So it always tells me what the all-time high is. Obviously, right now it's today, but it will search this entire row and it tells me what my all-time highs are. Why is it important? Do you care? I do. I just like to know how we're doing. Am I at highs and where I am as well? My starting net lick was the beginning of the year. Then you have your daily realized. Essentially, that's just taking where we are now, or my year-to-date realized, which is my totals down here. So I'm looking at my total realized gains for the year, which is row 70. And then that's dividing it by the start of the year net lick. And that gives me my realized P&L for the year. So simply looking at the total down here, which is the total of all of these months. Okay, looking at the total here, dividing that by the starting net lick, and that gives me my net lick, or I'm sorry, it gives my realized P&L for the year. Net lick as well, I'm just simply dividing what is today's number, okay, which is always this one. So what is the last known formula here? And I'm dividing that by the starting net lick at the beginning of the year. All right, so that gives me my year-to-date net lick. What I'd like to do, and I haven't done it, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that does it. I know you can pull the data from Yahoo Finance. I can pull the year-to-date S&P numbers daily as opposed to looking them up. I've just been looking it up manually. I want to see what we have. So yeah, you have this access as a member here. So if you go into the Discord, okay, and you go on down here there's a couple ways to find it. Number one, I did add, by the way, a new resources section. So under the mod alerts here, you'll see Tom's resources. And under Tom's resources now, you've got a variety of different things. You have my trade plan here. It's also down here in strategy guides, okay? But I've made it easier too if you just want to stick with my stuff. There's that little ebook that I wrote on trading mindset. That's totally available for you. If you want my trading plan, I'm going to keep them all posted here. So not just the newest versions. I'll post some of the older versions for you. I'm just starting to do a little FAQ section here, trying to help you guys with a lot of the questions that come up that are repeated, that if we can get people to just check out the FAQs, I think that would be helpful for everybody. I will be posting new trade ideas here. These will be ideas, not trades. These are trade ideas. And then the trade tracker itself, spreadsheets are right here. So you've got last year's, and then you've also got this year's trade tracker in here. So you can go to this Google Doc to my spreadsheet and grab it from here. But you can also look at last year's if you want to go back and see how we did last year. Hey, what happened on this date last year? Why did it not get stopped out? I don't know. Just go check the trade tracker. And you can find out exactly how we did. So this whole section is new, but it's available to you guys now, and I'll be building that up slowly just to make it easier for everybody. I think we've got a good organizational level now going on Discord. I know there's a lot of things here, but I think once you start to turn things off and filter for yourselves on these, Candy's done a really good job of helping you figure out where to go. You can then you can make your own favorites, or you can just watch certain things. Until it lights up or until I ask a question, I'm not really looking. So I'm not going to look at everything every day. But I think we're getting pretty well situated, and we got a bunch of contributors now, and we've brought in a handful of people to help you guys out. So as you go down, I know I'm scrolling up and down here, but you've got Igor, Gabe, and I as always, and then Candy as a moderator and her stuff here. And then under the contributors corner, you've got Stacy's trading on her small account, which she's doing a great job keeping up with that. Eddie giving you a lot of his different large account, medium account trades and what he's doing. So providing some really great stuff. Everything that Joseph's doing in here. Then we've just added Rob and Timur as well. So we want to just give you some extra benefits, some extra flavor, and spotlight some guys and gals that are really willing to share. And that's really where that contributor piece comes from, is if you're going to volunteer for that, you're going to have to answer questions and be super active and engaged. And if they do that, it's great. We really appreciate those people stepping up, and you can learn from a lot of people, not just one or two. All right, so as I go through this, my year-to-date net lick, it's nice. It's up 9% versus we're doubling the S&P for the year, so not too shabby. So Ritesh, that'd be fantastic if you send me that. He's also been really, really good. So Ritesh has been fantastic with helping me with some formulas. We've jumped on some sessions together, and he's helped a lot. So everything you see here is a group effort, fans. It's not just one or two guys that think they know everything and are going to lead you down some strange path. It's a community effort, and the more stuff I learn from you guys on these things on spreadsheets, the more we can learn together. And then as you notice on all of these lines, there is also a way to change these. I haven't done them yet, but you can see that I'm using all VLOOKUPs here. I think indexes might be another way to go, but we can do a VLOOKUP. I appreciate the guys that have helped me out with this. We're looking at the pivot table for this data. So all of this data in this sheet down here is all coming from the pivot tables. And you can see that we're looking on the entire pivot table, okay, back here. So we're looking at this entire table area I'm just explaining some of this. We're looking for anything that is a LT112, which is our search key, where the range is the pivot table itself. Okay. And then the index is which column I'm looking for, okay? And then if we're sorting it at all here. So I'm looking, I just messed up my entire thing here, so hang on. As I get out and go back. All right, so this is looking for column 2 in the entire pivot table for anything that matches the LT112. So where's the LT112 in here? Here it is in column 2, which is January. Now you'll notice that it's going in order, January, then February, and I have it totaling here. The reason on the closed that I have to put the month in, and I couldn't just use January or Feb or something like that, because if I did that, I mean, there's other ways around it, but if I did that, the order wouldn't be in month order here. It would be an alphabetical order by month, with like August and April being the first ones that you would see, which would mess up all of your formulas. So the reason that we have these months is so that I can put the pivot table into an order so I know which columns I'm looking for. And every single month that I start here, you can see these all have the index of 2, okay, for January. And then in February, you can see the index is now 3. I'm looking for column 3. That's the only thing that's changing from month to month as I look through the pivot tables. Then I also add, because of the way I track, I'm also tracking my put debit spreads from the actual long 112s themselves. So the 112 essentially is more like the naked put or the whole 112, and the PDS is just the PDS itself from a pivot table standpoint. So I track, here's a good example, the 112 futures. This would be anything that's a catch-all for 112s on any futures that aren't automatically tracked. And then there's a PDS. And what I'd want to do is I want to make sure I'm adding these two together to get a net number in here. So I may be adding, for these long-term 112s, I'm adding the long-term 112 naked put, as well as subtracting or really adding the negative of the PDS that comes off. And that's what gives me these net numbers. I like the fact too that I can look at overall, how are we doing for the month? 8607. 8607 on the pivot table. If I look at the closed trades, I can see here that we're at 30,034, and I can see here that we're 30,000. That way I make sure that all of my formulas are working all of the time. And all right, we'll see. I was going to try to add this Google Finance piece in here, giving me a little bit of an error, Ritesh. So unless I grab something wrong. Missing a parentheses or something in here. So Ritesh, you can take a look at that. Okay, the love repeat stop. All right, I was going to pop it in there, but we'll figure it out. All right, so there's where these numbers are coming from. They're all being drawn from the pivot table somewhere as we go. And that pivot table does grow and expand as we have different types of trades. And on my dashboard as well, and I'm going to wrap up here so I can give Serge plenty of time on this today, but I don't look at every single trade strategy, but I do break out ES, strangles, oil, gold, bonds, and I decided to break out copper since I'm doing so many of them. And then anything else that we would do a strangle on is just going to fall into future strangles. So when I have an open trade, when I'm looking at my category, I'm just picking from those categories. If you want to add more categories, you can click the edit button. Okay, and then you can go in here and you can add more categories. I color mine a little bit too, so that they do stand out a bit so I can understand what's going on in it. It's just easier for me. And then I make sure that I apply it to all of those rows. So if I change something here, I have to change it not only here, but I change it on the closed trades section here. But you can add through the edit. You can simply just add more of these different data validation points in here. So I know I'm probably not speaking, I'm speaking as layman as I can on it. And then I total up all my futures. So we're doing great on strangles. Same thing with 112s. I'm only looking at my core 4. So if you watched any of my recent videos, I'm talking about the core 4 trades, which is ES, oil, gold, and bonds. I did add HG up here just because I'm doing a bunch of them, but those are my core 4, and that's where I'm sticking to. 90% of all of my trading is going to be done in those 4 underlyings. And then you can add copper, and you can maybe add NASDAQ or live cattle or something in here for those. And then the FB and BA trades are down in here. Same thing. I'm adding the BA 112s to the BA 112 PDSs just to make sure that I'm accounting for the wins on the nakeds and the losses technically, even though I don't call it a loss because I'm not going to count it twice as a win and a loss and have nothing. So it's typically a win unless we would lose on the naked put. But we will count an extra win if the PDS does turn out to be a winner as opposed to just expiring worthless. And then ratio spreads, 0 DTE. And you can see formulas are pretty much all the same down in here. And then I know there's better ways to do this, but this is also, I count my wins and losses by month. And all I'm doing is I'm looking at the range, or, the range here, and I'm looking for W's in that range of R1 to R26. Okay, because I know that R26 is the first trade of February. And then if I use the R1 up here, then every time I do an insert, so every time I close a trade, I essentially insert a row, I cut it from open, I paste it into here. Okay, so I cut from open, I paste it into closed, and then I will add my month and any notes to it, and that's all I have to do when I'm adding that. So as soon as I add this month into here, it'll add it to the pivot table. Okay, and otherwise the pivot table is going to come up with some funky thing like this, okay, which is going to throw stuff off. So you guys get the point of how that's done. We can get more into this at some point. So everybody chomping in on this thing. This is great. So I get an Excel class at the same exact time. All right, so there we go. So thank you. Well, Peter, yes, thanks. And Ritesh, thanks. And the dude, thanks as well. So we did get it figured out. Yeah, there was an extra there's an extra comma in here. So there it is. I'm going to actually take this thing. We're going to move it down here. And I'm going to change this. All right, so there you go. So this is now drawing from Google Finance, the SPY price, dividing it by the SPY close on 1/1. So this is going to continue to update every single day now. We'll color it, make it look pretty. We'll give it an orange or something. I'm just making sure I got everything. 14. What? Oh, it's Calibri. That's right. Sorry, I know I'm like talking and doing these things all at the same time. All right, there you go. So now we've got this thing will open every time you open this spreadsheet. This will recalculate the S&P year to date. So you always know where you are S&P year to date. You want to add a column over here that shows you how you are beating the S&P year to date and calculate all that out to knock yourselves out. Okay, I just need to know that, okay, I'm kicking its ass. So I'm happy with that. So as long as we are kicking the ass of the S&P, excuse my language, I'm a pretty happy camper. All right, so this is a good basic session of how I'm using this, how these spreadsheets go together. When I open a new trade, like I did today, all I did was I inserted 3 rows above, I copied something of the same strikes, that way I don't have to, of the same underlying, and then I would potentially add that in there. So I did it this morning down here when I added, this is where I added 3 rows, and then I took, I just added the pieces here, moved them all in, and made sure everything here is right. Sometimes I just got to make sure that my categories are correct, and that's it. So that's how I create this top one, which is grayed out, is nothing. It's just a placeholder for me so I can remember what the original trade was, but then I would cut this when it closes and I'll paste it up here. Then if the naked put closes, I'll cut the entire row, and you can see this little column over here. Okay, this is the month column, so that when I paste it, it keeps the spacing for the notes and the trades. When I paste it over here, it held a space for month notes and what have you. So I just cut the entire row and I paste it into close. And all I have to do is add my close price my close date, and I add the win or loss. Those are the only columns that are missing here is close price, close date, win or loss. The days in trade, those will fill themselves in automatically. And then I add the date, the month, and I'm good to go. All right, so there we go. So Serge, I want to turn it over to you. So I've talked way too long and I want to give you some time. But I think one of the cool things that you guys can do is you can do a lot more with the spreadsheets than I'm doing now, and you can import your data in. There is some stuff in the Discord about Tasty Trade. You can read through that. Maybe we'll see if we can get somebody on that knows that a little bit. But I know, Serge, I'm going to turn it over to you. So if you want to unmute yourself, you can jump in here, and I'm going to give you control to get rolling. How's that sound?
That sounds good. Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Okay, I think it's okay. You can hear me, right?
We can hear you. We can see you. You look fantastic. Go
okay,
ahead.
thank you. So my name is Sergey, or Serge JM in the chat. I'm based in New York. I've been in the US for about 15 years, and I'm from one of the Central Asia republics of former USSR. So I discovered TOM and the Income Navigator about 1.5 years ago. I joined, and since then I was trading these strategies with little variations of mine. So lately there were some discussions about tracking the trades, and I'm doing something different than Tom does, but I think this would be a good addition to what Tom does already, and I think it will be helpful for people who doesn't know how to do it. But I think a lot of people do know. But anyway, it's just a different perspective, and maybe it will be just useful for some people. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, it's shared, right?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, we still see you. But
okay. I have to click share.
There you go.
Okay, not share. Good. So so basically, I'm using TOS, Thinkorswim, but I think the same thing, the same stuff can be done with IBKR. I'm not sure about Tasty Trade. I don't think it's that easy, but I didn't research it, to be honest. So what I do is, in this spreadsheet, I have different tabs for different strategies. And the main thing about this is the formula to bring live data from live market data from TOS, Thinkorswim, and I've put I show some formulas here. For example, if you look at, let's say, Apple, this is the simple one. If I look at Apple, you see the price changes. It's bringing live price of Apple right now. So this is the formula to use it, and it's pretty simple. It's a mark, which is the mark price, and the symbol, which is Apple, I-30. This mark price, there's a whole list of data which can be brought. I have the links here. I think I will post them in the chat later. Fields on RTD, this one. And it's a lot of things. It's I mean, you can bring a lot of data. You can bring the close, you can bring the mark, bid, ask, volume, and so on. I'm just mostly using this mark, and to calculate the percent change, I use close. So this is the close from previous day and the mark from today. So it calculates percent change for today. So this is so basically on this is like a dashboard. I can see everything without opening Thinkorswim. I can see whatever I want to see. GVZ or VX. This is volatility for gold and oil. Now, the most interesting part is options, premium for options. So it gets more complicated. I have a formula here basically for to use the symbol, because the main thing in this formula is the ticker, the last part. for ETF, for an ETF and for stocks, it's easy because it's just the ticker. But for options, it's more complicated. It's a ticker symbol plus it's put or call, strike, and exchange. So, for example, on the top here, I have an example. It's so basically this is the put of 1870 strike for gold, which is my top row. I think it's this one. So if I open here, not this one, if I open here, I see put mark and call mark. So this use formulas. If I double click, this basically these formulas, they construct this string to bring the live data and live value of put cost and call cost into the spreadsheet. And then I have formulas to calculate the P&L. So I have total credit which was received, which I enter at the time of the trade was filled. And then there's a P&L. There's then I can basically, as soon as I have this live market data coming in from the broker, I can calculate whatever I want. I can calculate the P&L. I can like this one HG strangle is just working. It doesn't fill. It's 50%. So I can highlight whenever the trade reaches the number I want. It highlights, it calculates here. It doesn't show, but it calculates as soon as they enter. For example, if I close this trade, when I close the trade, I enter 650. Calculates the P&L. It calculates the APY, and I have on top here I have percentage of buying power use 50. So it calculates the APY, annual percentage yield, considering that buying power usage is 50% of what it should be. So it's double of buying power usage. I mean, this kind of calculations are pretty useful, at least for me. And these are all fields, all the fields in the spreadsheet. Basically, I fill them in when the trade is filled. Trade is placed, and then from there it just calculates all the time, and I'm not even looking at the broker broker positions, and I just open the spreadsheet. I can see everything here.
Sergey, there was a question in the
yes.
chat too of how you got your days in trade, the DIT.
Days in trade, where is it? This is just calculated from today minus expiration. DTE at the open. So DTE at the open is entered obviously at the open, and days in trade is today minus this one, and days left calculated also from days in trade.
So it's just subtracting the entry date from today. That's all.
Yes, yes, yeah. Just abstracting.
So
also
subtracting
here,
column L.
Yeah, also here it's pretty useful thing, which is it shows the percentage from put and percentage from call, so it shows and how much the price moved since trade open. So you can pretty much see how if the trade is in danger, if calls are in danger, and so on. So what's going on? I mean, it's at the glance you can see what's going on with the trades. Also, for Thinkorswim, it's pretty useful that you can construct the script here to close the trade. So you just copy this script, paste in the order, and just make sure that it shows to close, because you don't want to mess up and to open another trade, and you just close the trade. You don't need to go and find your strikes without position. So it's pretty useful. So what happens in terms of tracking the trades, what I do is as soon as the trade feels closed, I put here the closing price, the P&L is calculated automatically. Then I just select all the data here. doesn't work. Just a second. So select the data, copy, then paste as values. So it replaces all the formulas. And I have a record for data analysis later on of the closed trade. And when I need to open a new, I open the new trade, I just insert a row here. I select existing one, copy, paste, and just put the data in here, and the calculation is done again. So it's that simple. Okay, I think
if anybody has any specific questions too, you can unmute yourself. So Mark, if you have a question specifically, I'm not sure what you're referring to on the expiration date, but if you guys want to unmute yourself and ask, you can ask a question as well.
Yeah, I don't see chat. I don't see the chat, and I don't have.
There's like,
yeah, I had a question.
Yes.
You know, with futures, it doesn't list the expiration date because it lists settlement dates and it's confusing. You can't get that exact date just looking at the nomenclature on the futures trade. How do you import? How do you get the expiration date to go in automatically into this?
The expiration date's calculated as well. It's not calculated here because it's a closed trade, I think.
Yeah, if you're going to do a new trade, expiration date to show up.
The expiration date is calculated from I enter the entry date today. In Excel, it's if you press Control and semicolon, it's automatic like this. And as soon as I put the DTE, then it calculates the expiration date.
I see.
You see, this is the formula. So it's it adds the DTE to entry date and to have the expiration date.
so I think that's answering both Mark's question and Lewis's question here. It's backward engineered, so it's not taking the expiration date and calculating the DTE. It's taking the DTE and calculating the expiration date.
Yes.
Yep.
And for the prices of option premium, you don't need it because it uses this this designation of the option contract, which also in itself it has the expiration date, so it's not needed. You just need to use this one. And also there's a part of the exchange for the formulas, and I have here I have the URLs symbols for Excel. For example, you see for 6A, for example, it's using XCME. For GC, it's using XCEC. For CL, it's using something else. So, I mean, there's if you Google it, or I can just post this URL somewhere. So if you need specific symbols to use on this, you just need to look up which exchange to use for this. And also in the formulas, it's here it also uses the exchange to get a quote for the premium of an option.
Okay, does this work with Google Sheets also?
I'm not sure. I never tried it actually. I use Excel.
Okay, and have you?
But
are you using API software at all?
I'm not using API software. You just need at the same time you need the broker to be open. Thinkorswim needs to be running.
Okay.
I don't think it will work with Google Sheets because it's not an application, it's a browser. It's not an application. Yeah. So this is Excel. And I think this is it.
So
Mark, to answer your question, this will not pull information from TD and populate into Google Sheets. It only works for Microsoft Excel.
good. So
Yeah, I think this is yes, and I have a filter here, so I just filter out blanks and I filter out closed trades when I don't need them most of the time, and I have my current open positions in here. And that's it.
So is there anything you're doing too that, you know, is as a helpful, you know, as you bring in this extra data live from your sheet, which helps you not have to type in so much data like I have to type in everything. But so I think that's the one of the benefits here is I've got to key everything in. I've got to key in the date. I've got to key in the expiration date. I key, you know, or the DTE. I have to put in the symbols. I have to put in the strikes. I have to put in everything. You know, what Sergey is doing is he's limiting how much stuff he has to actually put in each time. He only has to change a few things, and it's auto-filling it in. Do you use any of this data for any other unique reports or anything that is there anything unique that you're doing or looking at that's helpful to you to monitor your portfolio?
No, actually no, but I will do it. I will construct some reports. But what you do in terms of pivot tables, you can do it here as well. It just needs to be structured a little bit differently, I guess, because it's. But I don't do it.
I do like the P&L from Max column. I think that's helpful for some people. I mean, all depends on, you know, I'm getting it right from Tasty Trade and just looking at it that way. But if you just want to, especially if you're on the go or you're somewhere, you can use this easy way to tell where you are from Max if you want to take something off early or something like that.
Yes, and also pretty flexible because I mean at the bottom I have different strategies. I have 1, 1, 2, but I do it a little bit differently than you. So it's all together. It's not separate, but it's so the same way. I have strangle list hedge. There was somebody, remember, I think the nickname was this, Dan Dunder. He suggested this strangle list calendar hedge, so I'm trying these ones. I mean, it's pretty flexible. So it's basically there are 2 strangles in here: the short one and the long one. So it's all in one record, and it all calculates together everything. So maybe it could be useful. I mean, this could be some kind of addition to what we do. And also, I was thinking this morning that as we have these orders to close the trade, we have also order to open the trade. So even these strikes could be filled automatically from this chain, but we need to write a code. I think I will do it. So what I mean, so when you place the order, you can just copy and paste the order, and the strikes, the option taker, everything else could be filled in automatically. So it will be even more automated than what I do.
Sergey, do you have a shareable version of this that does not have your personal trades in it?
I can share this one because it's just I can clean up in a little bit. I can share this one.
If you want to clean it up, let me know, or and just shoot me you and I message each other. So if you want, just shoot it to me and we'll get it posted in here for everybody to take a look at.
Yes, I will send it.
Yeah.
So this could be used as a basis, like
exactly.
To answer the question of people, how do you track this? What software do you use? I mean, you can construct whatever you want to track and whatever suits you, and make the reports from this and pivot tables, whatever you like. You just need to spend some time and use this as a basis, for example, and combine with what Tom does.
Yeah, and mine it grows periodically. So as like I said, today it just grew again because I just added I just added the SPY index from the beginning of the year to it. But I do change some tweaks here, small ones periodically. If it's a major tweak, I would let everybody know. There's more that can be done, so we're going to continue to evolve it. But all of these things, whether it's Sergey's stuff or mine here or some Squeak posts or anybody else, there's a lot of super smart people, and Ritesh as well. You can build your own tracker as complex as you want, or you can keep it as simple and data driven as you want. I don't do a lot of graphs and things like that, but if you want to do graphs, fine. All I know is, hey, if I'm making money, I don't need to see a graph of me making money. But if you like that, go, build graphs, and you can have it pulling live data, so that, you know, which is the one nice thing from a TOS or a IBKR, is that you can pull live data and you can get your mark price, so that you can see exactly what you're, if you know, where you are on certain things at any given point in time. I think that's a nice benefit to have if you want to do that. And plus, potentially, if you're traveling or something like that, if you've got internet, although you can always get on your account, but I find it much more helpful sometimes, especially if you can't bracket your trades or group your trades on your mobile, which you can, but it's a pain in the butt on Tasty Trade and maybe some other pieces. But if you can trade based off of your tracking spreadsheet, you don't really have to open your brokerage account to really monitor and things. Obviously, you have to take a trade off using that, but you can get a sense of where your trades are, and you can have, you know, real-time charts and, you know, to the minute, you know, portfolio values. All matter of what you guys want to do with it. We just wanted to make sure that if you want to see how you can grab some data from your broker, bring them in here, and then you can take this, you can modify my chart with it, or you can take his spreadsheet if it's better than what I've got, and grow it from there, and just experiment and play with it. And, you know, I break formulas all the time, and then I either fix it, or I gotta make the phone call to somebody smarter than me to fix something, or I'm challenging them to figure out, hey, I want to do this, figure it out. And we can try to figure some things out. But hopefully this was helpful for everybody today. And Sergey, I appreciate the
No problem.
the input here. Really good, really cool stuff. So you guys can see how to set it up and pull some of that data in.
Okay.
So any other questions? If not, we'll wrap it up. I'll get this thing posted up in the member videos. And again, just so you know, and again, we always record, always record our trades. But if we're going to record trades, and move this out of the way, you know that if we post this stuff, where will this be? I don't know. I can't find it. Okay, this will be in member videos. Everything that we do with just Income Navigator alone, and with special guests that we've been doing these things with, they're all in member videos here. So you can go to member videos, daily videos, or just my daily YouTube videos. Don't blow them off. There's good stuff in there. I would recommend it if you go through it, not because I need any likes or anything else, but there is nuggets in each one of these things of how I trade. The member videos are the live trainings that we do here, and appreciate Sergey's time and everybody else. I think next week as well, we will be bringing you another guest. So I feel like the Tonight Show with Tom King or something, but next week, Stacy, I believe, will be joining us to go over her 25K account, hopefully, and then a couple weeks after that, I think Squeak will be on here, and we're going to go a little bit more in depth on the spreadsheet. So really good stuff. I appreciate everybody's time today. Sergey, great stuff. Thank you very much. And that's it for us. We'll see you guys in the Discord. Take care, everybody.